So I'm going to start with you, Boaz. What
Hello.
was the inspiration for this film?
The inspiration was just wanting to tell a story about the bond between people and dogs that treated dogs the way they used to be treated in movies and like way back with Rin Tin Tin and Old Yeller, and I felt no one had done that for a long time. And then I approached my friend Sheldon Lettich, who's a Vietnam vet and an ex-Marine, with the idea, and he's a big dog lover, and he came up with the idea of using an MWD, and the story rolled from there.
That's great. And Josh, why don't you tell us a little about your character in this film?
Justin is a kid who feels like he's the black sheep of the family that he's in. His brother was this perfect image of his dad, and he feels overshadowed by him. And he kind of lets that all out, mainly towards his dad. And once he meets Max, who's also kind of, feels a lot of pressure, they grow up together, and he starts, realizing responsibilities, and he starts becoming more of a man than he was at the beginning.
So they sort of bond together that way.
Yeah.
So, Boaz, you obviously did some research for this. Did you do a lot of research with the PTS, post-traumatic stress syndrome, with the dogs?
Well, Sheldon and I went to, where did we go? Camp Pendleton, which is a Marine base in California, and we met people who worked with the dogs. And we did research actually with the people who are working with dogs right now. So, yeah.
And Josh, explain what Justin's family dynamic is when we're coming into the story.
There's a lot of resentment towards his dad. Him and his mom, he kind of goes to his mom in the family. I think his mom was always kind of his rock of the family. He never really felt pressured by her or anything. So his relationship with his mom is really good. But, like I said, he just feels like the black sheep, and he doesn't really know where he belongs in society and in his family.
And his relationship with his father is a little stressed.
Yeah, for sure.
So now I understand that you have a little background in your family with dog training. Did you go to that for any of your research for your role?
Yeah, my dad is a canine bomb dog handler. So before we went to shoot this, I worked with him and his dogs at a facility, and I ran with them, and it helps a lot for handling Carlos and all that.
Now, Boaz, did you also have to do any preparation for working with dogs? Was it a challenge to be working with dogs in this film?
Well, it's a challenge in that it's a specific technical exercise in how you shoot it, because there's just so many things you can do and so many things a dog can do to be integrated into a scene. So we were fortunate enough to have the best trainers in Hollywood, this company called Birds and Animals that's run by a guy called Mark Forbes. And they've done it so many times that they really can help you figure out how and what to do. And I think they were excited about making a movie where the dog had to do so much nuanced work. It wasn't very broad at all what we were doing. So together we found a way to get a performance, so to speak, that interacted with the people in a really good way.
Yeah, it looked really good. Now, there's some great bike riding in this film, too.
Yeah.
Did you do any of that on your own?
I didn't do the big jumps, thank goodness. That was a stunt double with Keith. But I did a lot of the mountain bike, riding down the hills and stuff, which I haven't done anything like that extreme with biking before, so that was definitely an eye-opener.
Now, can you talk about some of the themes of this? Because there's a few different themes of this story.
Well, thematically, for me, it's very much about, the pressure of being an American male at this point in history and how that affects the nuclear family. It's a family movie about a dog, so I try not to lay that on too thick, but that's what all the characters are going through. What does it mean to be a man in a society that demands a certain level of commitment, and how do you respond to it, and how destructive that can be on the various characters in it, and how much they're suffering from that pressure. So that's always under the adventure that we're watching.
And you speak of it being a family film. It's a throwback to some of the older family films that we haven't seen in a long time. So, what do you feel? Do you feel that what do you feel that kids and adults will get out of this? How is it? Do you feel that it will talk to both kids and adults?
For sure. I think kids I think every kid feels pressure from society. Like kids my age don't really know what they want to do or what they should do. And this kind of teaches kids to take on responsibility and not being so afraid to take on responsibility, because it can really help you grow and help you become, a man.
I think that's, the challenge of this film, which is to make a real family movie, meaning that it's something that lifts up kids and treats them more seriously sometimes than a kid's movie will, but also speaks to adults in a way that feels emotionally resonant and that they don't feel they're there just to take their kids to the movie. I think that's a difficult thing to do. I think movies tend to sort of specialize a lot. Oh, this is a kid's movie, and this. To make a movie that really treats everybody respectfully but is appropriate for everyone is a kind of a dance, and hopefully we managed to do that in this film.
I think you did. And about with regards to the dog, there's not a lot of coverage on these dogs all the time. I think that this is going to open the eyes to some people that aren't aware of these military dogs. How do you feel about the role that these dogs play in our military and even our police force?
I think it's a lot bigger than some people realize. These dogs don't choose to do what they do. They're kind of put into it, and the fact that they commit so much to it and they go through so much when they do it, I think it speaks a lot to dogs' character and their loyalty and their bond with their trainers.
I think the specific trainers and the people that work with the dogs understand the responsibility that we have and they have to these animals who have been helping us for decades. But it's right now actually politically at a moment of turmoil, because it's only now that in the larger sense people are starting to recognize how much we have to treat these animals better once they've done serving, and how much we owe them. And I do hope that the movie helps to sort of bring that to people's attention more.
So do I. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks
That
so
was
much.
great.